Ryan Neal, CEO of Blueprint Technologies, live from the Blueprint Lounge on the floor of Data and AI Summit 2025. We have the honor to sit down with two of the executives from Databricks. Naveen Zutshi, he's the CIO, the Chief Information Officer of Databricks, and Ron Gabrisko, he's the Chief Revenue Officer of Databricks. So thank you guys for coming out and sitting down with us.
Yeah, excited to be here.
As you guys are one of the fastest growing companies in the world, and everybody asks us all these questions about how we use Databricks AI to be able to power revenue and generate profit. How do you guys collaborate? How do you guys work together?
Yeah, I mean, first off, just crazy excited about Data and AI Summit. Thank you guys for being a great partner. But so many amazing innovations and announcements today. Databricks apps, Agent Bricks, Lakebase. Just really excited. 22,000 people. It's the biggest summit ever. And we're really excited about it.
You guys sell it out every single year. You just came out of the keynote. What are the highlights?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, those were all the highlights. I mean, Jamie Dimon,
his
talk was amazing. I mean, he was absolutely spectacular.
It was very wide-ranging. I think it really covered a lot of topics, anywhere from leadership to technology landscape to the economy. So really
and we did live demos of all the products, and obviously we acquired Neon, so I think the lake-based stuff is absolutely game-changing for.
So getting that third leg of analytics, and now we have databases to dive with data AI and OLTP servers.
Yeah, it's pretty
so
cool.
it really makes the data apps more real. It brings us the lakehouse architecture with the data intelligence more real as well. So really excited about the vision of where we are moving as a company.
That's awesome. Yeah, we've been a partner for 9 years now at all these Data and AI Summits, and you guys always release some of the most innovative stuff. Everybody talks about Databricks on Databricks though. How do you guys innovate internally, and what are you guys using to actually power and generate all this revenue growth?
I mean, first of all, we look at the CIO and the CIO office as a strategic advantage. Right? A lot of people are like, oh, IT, it's like computers, networking, stuff like that. But no, we work together on how can we make my salespeople super productive? How do we accelerate sales cycles? How do we understand our customers better? So we work pretty closely together on all those kind of requirements and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, very true, Ron. One, we have done hackathons together, business and IT do hackathons together. We do that every 6 months. We innovate jointly. We have product managers in IT that really spend a lot of time in the business and really work very closely with Ron's team in making sure that we are listening to the problems of the sales teams and really developing solutions based on that. And then we essentially build everything on Databricks. So we have built a lot of our technology on Databricks. And we'll get into that. I would love Ron to first talk about the things that he's seeing in the field, and then what behind the scenes we did to build it.
That's great. That's pretty challenging though, because you guys are running so fast out in the field. So how do you actually deliver those requirements back?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you think of innovation is not just happening at our customers, it's happening in how you sell. Large enterprises still take, 6, 12 months to do security reviews, but customer sales cycles are going so much faster with AI because they know they have to innovate and compete with data and AI to stay ahead of their own competitors, right? So sales cycles are going even faster. And so think about all the signals that you want to get on your customers in terms of even conversational data, right? So, sales calls, how do you use that to coach your team and get better? Deliver new messages, doing training enablement. We've built our entire go-to-market hub. So how I do all my forecasting, consumption reviews, even think about consumption.
Yeah.
The world has moved away from normal software licensing into consumption. None of the normal apps out there, Salesforce, Clary, any of that stuff really handles consumption in the right way. So we've built out on Databricks apps, and maybe Naveen can talk a little bit about it. And I run my entire business, our entire business, on Databricks apps and AI, BI, and I can forecast revenue and churn within 1 or 2%.
It's one of the craziest things that I've seen working with a lot of the field is they talk about how you guys are monitoring consumption at the individual account level, like on a weekly and almost probably daily basis, so you guys can monitor
That's real time.
across that many accounts across the global scale. How do you guys do it? That's an almost impossible thing to do.
Yeah, so Ron talked about
We
the
eat our
sales.
own dog food.
Drink our own champagne. So Ron talked about Sales Analytic Hubs as an example. So it basically brings in from various data sources like Salesforce, our own Logfood, other data sources like Databook or Zoom Info and other insights. So we are bringing both historical data as well as prescriptive data around, for example, data science forecast, and marrying it all together into an hub, which is a data app run on Databricks, which enables sales teams, sales leadership to really have a full pulse on the business at all times.
Yeah.
And then we also did quite a bit of customization in terms of how we run our sales process and really tied our consumption process to our business, which is pretty unique because in most companies you are running a commit-based business.
Yep.
We run a consumption model, and to have that completely instrumented all the way from how you're getting the leads, campaigns turning into use cases, and those use cases are turning into opportunities, and those opportunities turn into a commit business, and then you track consumption on it, and then you do consumption forecasting on it all the time. So you have to really instrument the entire process in the system.
You make it sound so easy. Like you guys, I assume you guys have the latest and greatest of all your AI capabilities and all your tech. How do you actually go through the build cycle without breaking something, and then especially like how do you deal with governance around it, and
Yes.
and still move as fast as you guys do? It's the dream of every CRO, CIO to have that kind of capability.
Yeah, so I think from a build cycle standpoint, you want to mimic what engineering does. You want to mimic what R&D does. So you really want to have the same sort of CI/CD processes, same sort of agile processes. We have basically weekly sprints, and we do weekly drops of Salesforce as well as Databricks. So we have weekly changes, and then when you make smaller incremental changes, the chance of things going wrong are less,
Yeah.
and as well you have very easy rollback mechanisms as well. So that's on the build side. But on the governance side, governance is extremely important. Privacy and security is extremely important. We started with a culture of really open data when we had a lot fewer employees. Now we have a lot more employees, so we want to really build a least privileged access-based system on both sales and other systems. So that's what we have implemented, that's what we are in the process of implementing. And then we use Unity Catalog quite extensively in our Databricks environment. We migrated to Unity a few years ago. Basically we have, not only does Unity give us the authorization and access controls that we need from a security standpoint, but it also gives us the ability to build Genie spaces that we can, because we have all the metadata, and then we have marketing and finance and go-to-market, which is using Genie to drive ad hoc queries, which traditionally they would come to my team or to a sales ops team to get answers. They can get answers themselves now.
Just helps you go that much faster too, right? Like, and it starts with like the beginning of how you do sales, right? Like I ask for account reviews, or AI in our, specific data we have on, say, a customer or a prospect, mirrored with data we're getting from the internet on their financials, like it'll put together a great account brief. Like we have Sales AI Assistant that basically I'm like, hey, what should I talk to this customer about? How can they use Databricks? How can they improve their business with data and AI? And it gives me a great synopsis, right, to educate like an executive for me, when I'm going to talk to a customer or the team. That helps us, be very relevant for the customer all the way from there through account planning, proposals, prospecting, all that
Executive
kind of
briefing
stuff.
documents.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we built this agent tool model and using Databricks Mosaic AI platform. So it's basically a multi-agent platform, which also has LLM as a judge. LLM orchestrates up to 50 plus tools that we build. Some of the tools are SQL functions, some of them are machine learning programs, Some of them are other tools that are called like Glean or other products. And so it is combining that as an ensemble, and then rather than rule-based technology, LLM is deciding based on the question that Ron and team are asking, which tool to call or which number of tools to call to get the answer that they are asking for.
Interesting.
And you're really moving towards not just summarization and classification of information, insights, and then ultimately actions. So
it just helps companies run faster. Like, I mean, in my opinion, everyone should do this for the go-to-market team, right? It's like
it's one of the biggest problems out in the field in any sales organization, and if they're using not a Databricks set of architecture, is how do I know about what's going on with my customer and who's been touching that customer, right? It's kind of been the promise of the big CRMs, and you guys are solving it, right?
Yeah, no, it's been incredible. Like I said, because it's not just Salesforce data, we're using all kinds of other data. And again, we can predict our revenue, we can predict customer churn, doing all my forecasting on that around commit and business as well.
And I feel like we are still on the cusp of what we are doing.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
We're just getting started, right? Take voice of the customer. Today, what traditionally happens with voice of the customer, product managers get input from the customers many weeks later. Or the sales rep is calling, or the FE engineer is calling the product manager, and product manager doesn't believe what they're hearing. Right now, wouldn't it be great if you, as you're having a conversation like you and I are having right now, all of the conversations are transcribed, and we pick out the key moments from a product strategy standpoint, product feature standpoint. What did the customer say about product feature X, Y, and Z?
Tone.
And then send that note, the sentiment analysis, the tone, the verbiage
do that internally
to the product managers directly, so that the product managers get a much richer context. So this is still early on. This is something we're building on.
So on that note, you say you're testing it and you're running it through, right? Like, so you have a ton of chief information officers, CTOs, and CROs that are going to be looking at this. What kind of advice do you give them about actually how to go about achieving something like that?
I mean, first of all, you got to have that partnership, right? I mean,
and incredible trust between the partners.
Yeah, because too, like he's like, okay, we're gonna update your whole how you do your forecast, and I'm like, whoa, wait a second, right? And then like, so we ran both systems in parallel for a little while just to make sure we had the kinks. We ran some pilots, but sit down and prioritize, right? So we started with how do we get visibility into revenue, customer churn. Like we prioritized like what was important to me. And now we're going into even more, kind of important or complex projects around like, we're testing out a virtual SDR. Turns out our virtual SDR is almost as good, if not better than humans, right? So there's lots of ways. And again, that doesn't mean we're going to hire less SDRs. It just means we're going to be way more productive inside of our Hunter account. So, I mean, start with, you need a partnership, prioritize the projects on how you're running your business, and set up the right data and AI infrastructure and governance to be able to do that. And I think it's been game changing for us. So
I also think the Databricks culture helps. We have this notion of truth seeking. So there is complete transparency and honesty in a relationship. Like we are not just agreeing on everything. We will challenge each other, and then that makes a better product. That's one thing. And then also in terms of innovation cycles and innovation, I don't believe innovation is just in IT. We have some incredibly bright people in this field. They're innovating all the time. We are learning from them. And so we are really working.
The ideas come from the field. We get feedback from the field, like this sucks, that's awesome.
Well, and that's one of the coolest things that I've seen about your guys' motion is every sales organization will sit out in the field and complain about they don't have certain things. But the information transfer back into Databricks and be able to deliver that back out to the field is faster than any other company out there. The cool part is, you guys talk about, I've heard you talk about like dollars per head count, dollars per people as a driving metric around AI development. Do you guys actually think about it in terms of that, like productivity, and to be able to achieve some of these, solve some of these problems that are out there that are just not solved yet? Like, how do you guys think about that?
I mean, listen, I think we're in a hyper growth phase still. We think it's super early in the market. I think it's top of the second inning in data and AI. So, personally, my job's grow revenue, grow top line. So I'm just looking for opportunities in terms of expansion markets, new products, AI is a huge boost. I think Databricks apps will be huge, lake-based will be huge. So I think about those things. Obviously, we look at productivity. I actually think when productivity goes way up, I need to hire even faster, right? Because that means there's more business. Again, we're early in the market. You'd probably do it differently if you were kind of later in the market. But I mean, we measure all that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, we're a data company.
Like
so.
we are a data company. Top of the funnel, we are like any other company, we are going to measure conversion, and we want a conversion to be higher. Middle of the funnel, we want to measure each sales stage, how much time is spent on each sales stage, how can we move that faster through each sales cycle. And that is not unusual, any company will do that as well. But we are trying to also look at the input signals, what is driving that? And then can we affect those signals? Because that's essentially what you can do, because those are output metrics.
Yeah, you guys do an amazing job, better than probably any other company out there, at like humanizing the tech and being able to make it really relevant around use cases, which is awesome. So, well, cool. We won't take too much of your time, but one last question: like, what do you guys think is? You guys just did all these releases. What do you think is the biggest game changer for an organization? Your organizations out there and customers of revenue driving, profit generation that you guys just released.
I'm super excited about Agentbricks, because a lot of customers, we went through this struggle ourselves too. A lot of experiments fail, they don't go into production because accuracy is poor. And then the amount of change of technology of AI is moving so fast that even technologists can't keep up. And so trying to distill that and build a solution is really hard. And we are, with the 4 bricks that we announced today, and more will come later, we are trying to make it a lot simpler and abstract away the complexity from consumers so that they can get in the business of actually solving problems.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Agentbricks, like AI, taking the models to your data. I mean, the things that we're at, like a moment in history here. People look back, I think this is bigger than the Industrial Revolution, massive technology trend, and innovation will accelerate exponentially here moving forward. And so if we can make that simple, just like we democratize data, democratize AI on your data, like that'll be game changing for every single company. And obviously we got a bunch more exciting stuff tomorrow, and a lot of stuff around Unity Catalog, and all your AI models, all that stuff needs to be governed. We eat our own dog food on that, and congratulations to you guys being UC Partner of the Year.
Thank you, Blueprint, for being the UC Partner of the Year.
Thank you for that. And our customers are loving Unity Catalog and the partnership. So go make them all successful for us.
Awesome.
So,
well, thank you guys. Naveen, Ron, thanks for coming in today and sitting down and sharing your thoughts.
All right, thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
All right, we'll see you. All right, thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.